What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's another fantastic week, and we're back after seeing the movie that everybody has been waiting for, or at least we've been waiting for
Yeah, we've been waiting
patiently. Yeah,
very patiently after so long. We finally watched The Batman.
yeah. It's been a long couple of years.
Yeah, and
Long
so
couple of
this
years.
is going to be a spoiler-filled review in case anybody has not seen the movie. So expect spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, then go watch the movie first and then
Yeah,
watch.
exactly.
But yes, we watched the movie. We finally got to see it. And honestly, off the bat, before we even get into the review, we talked about it a little bit when we were sitting in the theater waiting to get in. That I feel like the hype for it kind of died down a little bit,
Yeah,
just because of how long. Like obviously, we were very excited to see it. We were like we couldn't wait to see it. It was just because of how many times it got pushed back and how long it took for it to finally be released. It was just like it kind of fell in the back burner a little bit. I feel like.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of a weird time to be releasing a Batman movie. I would have thought this one in particular because of the whole Halloween theme.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a lot of rain, fall type theme
Well,
that
the
they would have released it
initial,
in the fall.
yeah, the initial release date too was still in, I think it was in June. The initial
Yeah,
like release, like
that's
a year
usually
or
when
two
those
ago.
they'll release, like June, July.
Yeah,
The
so
Dark Knight was July.
yeah, kind of surprised that it had that like Halloween theme and that it was set in the fall. It took place in a matter of like a weekish.
Yeah,
I believe it was like I think the first scene was on Halloween and then it ended on November 6th. It said in the movie. So yeah, it was kind of weird, but um all right, let's go into that first scene where we're in the mayor's house. What do we
yeah, that
think?
was a really nice scene.
That was really cool. The opening murder. It went right into it. I like usually we see the Waynes get murdered. We see Thomas and Martha going down crime alley and they die. And then like a little montage of that, and then a montage of him going through training or whatever to get to where he is. But this we just go right into it. Riddler murders the mayor.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like an Alfred Hitchcock movie. The more I thought about it, have
Mm-hmm.
you ever seen Rear Window?
I don't
I think
think
that's what
so.
it's called.
I
Anyways,
don't think. Yeah, no.
that's a classic movie. That's what the movie Disturbia was based on. Person at home all day and they see their neighbor murdering somebody.
Yeah,
There
that
were a lot of those kind of shots in that
there
movie.
were, and well, there was a lot of the shots too, where there he was like peeking through windows and like just spying on
Yeah,
Catwoman. He did like Robert Pattinson. He was like spying on Zoe Kravitz in the apartment. There was like a lot of like scenes like that. It was very interesting the flow of the movie.
yeah. I mean, and this kind of got to me too. You don't This type of pacing isn't something that you normally are used to with a Batman movie,
Mm-hmm.
especially Zack Snyder's and then Chris Nolan. I think is probably a better storyteller than Snyder, but there's more. I feel like overblown action from Snyder's films, and like there's really good action in this movie too, like really good, but it's like very specific and
Yeah,
it's not overdone.
yeah.
Um, you know what I mean, like a
Well,
Michael
because
Bay
because
movie.
it seemed like that's kind of interesting that you bring that up. It seems like Snyder is like the overblown action. This is like the very specific action scenes and like in the moments that it needs to be, and then Nolan is kind of that perfect middle.
Yeah, Nolan has, because you remember the Dark Knight, the
Yeah.
chase scene with the
Oh
big
yeah.
truck and other things throughout, especially the third one too. But like I don't know, he does a really good job. But he's got those movies where he goes even further, like with Inception and
Hmm.
Interstellar. It's just all like ridiculous. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think this one, that's probably what threw most people, was they went in there expecting, you know, The
Yeah,
Dark Knight.
the Dark Knight, expecting a crazy action movie, and
Yeah.
it was a very like, it seemed just like a very like strategic game. Like the Riddler was sending him these messages and these clues, and it was at it kind of seemed like a very like when he would figure it out, it was kind of like when the Riddler would want him to figure it out. Even like everything seemed like very deliberate, and everything was planned out so well.
Yeah.
And it I feel like that chaotic flow that it had was kind of what worked for it, because it felt like it felt like a very grounded movie, which is what they've been saying that they want to go for forever.
There's one movie that I kept trying to figure out while I was watching it, what it made me think. Have you ever seen with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman,
Oh yeah, Seven.
Seven?
Yeah,
Yeah, this very, very similar in like tone and
that's what people were saying. I was watching some TikToks, and
yeah.
they said some movies to watch before the Batman, and one of them was Seven, because
Yeah,
it
I'd say
has that
seven.
like
Yeah.
murder, that storyline, detective storyline, the twist.
But you should see Prisoners, because I think Prisoners is also really like this movie.
Yeah.
And the same type of Paul Dano is also one of the villains, which is a little weird. This guy only gets cast for like just the creep shows. It's him and Polka Dot Man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
Seriously.
Because that guy played Thomas Schiff, the from the Dark Knight,
Yeah.
the guy that was supposedly the Joker or whatever. Um, but yeah, no, it's it's very, very different type of movie for sure. I definitely like to see it again. I'll probably. Are you gonna go to the theater again to see it?
We'll see. I don't know. I'd like to. I enjoyed the movie a lot, and I want to see it again too. Like definitely. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters again, just depending on when it comes out. If it comes out in like 3 months on like Blu-ray or stuff or streaming, then yeah, I'll
Yeah,
watch it again in theaters. But if it
April
comes out,
19th, I think.
oh, it's April 19th is when it comes out.
45 days from the
Oh, then maybe I'll wait. I don't know. April, that's not too far. That's not too
no, it's
far
about a
away.
month.
Yeah, it's not too far away.
Really. I mean,
I want to kind of sit with it for a little bit, because
yeah.
the more I've been thinking about it, just like kind of I've been trying to like just play it over in my head, like certain scenes that stuck with me, and I'm just want to kind of make sense of it on my own, and then go back.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If Matt Reeves could go back, because I think there's a lot more that there could have been in the movie,
Hmm.
where they you saw them kind of pick their battles a little bit, where they chose to tell less about, maybe Selena's backstory, and like we said earlier with Gordon's family, we didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
Whereas you got a little bit of Gordon's family from Nolan. I feel like they really he picked his battles, and even still it was still really long.
Well,
But
we
would
didn't even
you
see Alfred either, really.
exactly?
3 scenes with Alfred.
But would you, if we could go back and make this a two-part movie,
Mm,
you know what I mean, where it's like the first part is still close to 3 hours long,
yeah.
but the second movie kind of continues the storyline where maybe, the cliffhanger at the end of the first movie is with the Riddler, and then it leads maybe right into the Joker or something like that.
Hmm. Um, I get what you're saying, but I mean, I feel like what we're gonna get, I feel like we're gonna get a lot of like these gaps being filled in as this franchise continues, because there's already two or three, I want to say two or three, two for sure, but maybe three series that have already been like confirmed, um that are continuations. They're going to be series on HBO Max. It's the Penguin series,
Yeah,
the one that follows the GCPD, the corruption, and then there's a new like Arkham Asylum show that Matt Reeves confirmed.
Do we know if Gordon's gonna be the main character?
I think he's going to be in, yeah, in the GCPD show, and I'm assuming he's going to pop in here and there, maybe in the Penguin show. But so the Penguin one takes place post this show, this movie, and we're going to see it talks about like it was saying that we're going to see his rise to being the Gotham's the like leader of of Gotham's underworld, and then what originally though what I thought was the GCPD show was supposed to be Batman's first year, and he was like, you see the corruption in Gotham and you see him kind of turning the tide a little bit and like getting more people on his side, or like not just not being corrupt anymore.
Well, this
So
one this one was effectively Batman year two.
yeah, this was year two.
Yeah,
So I mean, to like, I know I'm kind of like I'm not fully answering your question, but I guess
you're
I
not
guess
answering.
yeah, like I'd say no, because what I think is going to happen is we're going to get so much backstory and so much information from different shows, and then we're going to get more from like movies coming like later. So I feel like this movie was just meant to be like, you're supposed to see Bruce, and because right now in this movie it seemed like in his second year as Batman, being Batman is all he cares about. So he doesn't have time for um these interactions with Alfred that we see in other movies. But he doesn't have really time. We don't like, there's no time to see those other stories because all we can focus on is Bruce and him being Batman, if that
Hmm,
makes sense. I don't know.
interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think maybe the shows have to do a really good job. I hope it's the same quality as like the Peacemaker show. I mean, I'm sure they're putting a good amount of funding into it. But
Yeah.
if they can kill it with those shows, and maybe this can build into its own little like
Yeah.
smaller
So
DC ecosystem.
yeah, because that would be interesting to see where you can get like a little bit more backstory on characters or a little bit more information about certain things happening in Gotham, and then when you get to a movie like this level and maybe even the same like how it was 3 hours, you get the same time length or whatever, you can get some more information and things just kind of flow into each other from TV to movie.
What would you think about the Batman, but as a really high quality HBO show,
I would love that. That would
but not
be
like traditional length. We're talking like 4 to 5 episodes,
4 to 5 episodes about like an hour long
an
each.
hour 10 long. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, I mean, because there was a lot of times in this movie where you could see that, like, we were watching it, I was like, is it gonna end here? And it could be like that could have been like a perfect like cliffhanger going into like a following episode. There was so many times like that. I'm trying to think of one of them was when I think it was when Bruce and Selena were, or no, one of them, an easy one is when he's in at the funeral for the mayor and he's staring at the Riddler on
Oh
that
yeah.
balcony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if that's an episode, you end it right there, and
Yeah.
then that the following week you see the what happens next.
Yeah.
There's like certain places, certain scenes or certain places like that, they seem like stopping points,
Yeah.
and then it just bang continues, it keeps going, and you're like, holy crap.
I mean, I think one of the main things that's holding the movie back from being much better than it was, like in like an elite level of like Batman Begins, is the pacing. But and I think if it was a mini series, 3 4 episodes, hour 10, hour 20 long, I think it has a better chance of being at that level, at least at this stage for where they're at with the franchise right now.
Yeah,
But I mean, they got a chance with the second one to springboard themselves.
I also think too, it's like a lot of times, especially with what they want to do with this movie and this they really want to expand this into its own universe. and
franchise.
yeah, their own franchise because, and so like I feel like this is the building block. This movie is the building block. So then the second movie, the third movie, if they do a fourth, fifth, however many they end up doing, it's going to be interesting to see because I think now this movie was really year two, and then year three might be better, year four. And every time it's year, I feel like we're just going to see an improvement going into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Because like you said too, the pacing is off. It's not like Begins, it's not like The Dark Knight, it's not like Rises, it's not like that trilogy at all.
no.
It's a very like very slow, very all over the place storyline, and that has to do with we can get into this part now. That has to do with I think it really bases itself off of like a comic book,
Yeah.
and a lot of the aspect like or a lot of the similarities we see from different comic books were from like the Long Halloween, Hush, even there were some similarities to Court of Owls, to the New 52 Court of Owls book, and there's like certain panels or certain pages. I was telling you yesterday when we after we watched it that there's like certain panels where it's just no words. You go for like 3, 4, or 5 panels, whatever it may be, and there's just no dialogue in it, no nothing, and it's just like build up, and it's like the characters are like Batman's thinking he's like figuring something out, and I feel like that was a lot of the pacing in the movie. We see
Yeah,
like
you had a lot of stepping. There was a lot of stepping. Whereas when like
yeah,
Christian Bale's Batman would be like
mhm,
3 or 4 steps and then boom.
exactly.
There's a lot of like slow walking,
And could
especially with the
you
car chase scene at the end of it.
yeah, like could you take that all that out and probably cut like 30 minutes of the movie? Absolutely. But
Not third, 15, 20.
yeah,
I don't
you
know
know,
that
I'm over
much.
exaggerating a little bit, but like I'm saying you cut out all that time. Like, do people like look at the movie a little bit different? Like, yeah, you could argue because there might be like less time between things, more action, whatever. It seems like that with how they edit things. It's just I think without that, the movie doesn't flow and have that same feel of like that real
Yeah,
world detective,
and I mean, part of the issue is
chaotic, whatever.
everyone's so used to Marvel movies
Yeah.
that are that big of a budget and 2.5 hours of nonstop crazy.
Hmm.
And then this one's like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Really slower, probably slower than Batman 1989, which I was rewatching recently. Um, very slow,
But I
but
did like it was because yeah, 100% was slow, but the action scenes in it were pretty great.
it looked pretty good. It looked real, and I think that's the more important part.
Yeah. Well, you
Um,
said too, you were saying that it like the punching, like the sound of the punching and stuff reminded you of Arkham Knight or
yeah,
like the Arkham games, how that just like the knockouts and everything.
yeah, they had a lot of. I feel like the Oculus thing he had put in his eye was
Oh, that was
called
really cool. Yeah.
Arkham Knight or something like that.
Yeah, that was cool. There was a lot of things like that too. The adrenaline at the end, that was pretty awesome to
That was
see.
nice. That was
You
nice.
see him pop that out of his belt, and he like whatever clicks the thing on his wrist, and then the little gap in the leg
That's
comes
right.
up, and he can stab himself with the adrenaline.
Yep.
But then, because there was like a few things like that too, where that leads to kind of some theories that you could have going into how these movies, this franchise is going to continue. Like, could we see Bane? Because Bane, all he does is basically take these steroids to make him so strong. And like we see Batman stab himself with that adrenaline, and he kind of breaks up, like shoots up, and he starts beating the crap out of the guy, the Riddler goon or whatever. And so there's like a chance for that. And then there was the the scene where they talk about Thomas Wayne having Carmine go after that reporter.
Yeah.
I don't remember the reporter's first name, but his last name was Elliot, which would
Thomas Elliot. Was it Thomas?
Thomas Elliot is Hush.
Yeah.
So now then you can say because Hush is jealous and he hates Bruce Wayne in the comics,
Yeah,
Now
there's
you
a
have that
connection.
storyline. You got like a little connection there. Like, could Hush potentially come into play in a later movie? There it is. Could he come into play in a later movie? And who pulls Hush's strings is the Riddler. At the end of that book, we see the Riddler is pulling the strings behind Hush. He's the one that sent him after Bruce. So a lot of little like details like that was I think really interesting in the movie, and
Um,
potential villains for the future, because those are more grounded villains. I feel like, because they've said they want to stay away from the Mr. Freeze and Clayface because those aren't as grounded as they're going for.
yeah, it's kind of difficult to pull off a Mr. Freeze. I don't
Yeah,
know. Someone will figure it out. But speaking on just like characters, I think the Penguin was very well done, and I'm
fantastic. Yeah,
curious to see that show. And maybe they have some kind of special appearance from the Flash.
in the
That would be
show,
yeah.
how would that
That
work?
that would be pretty random.
Yeah, that'd be random, but that'd be pretty
Well,
funny.
they would have to have some kind of like one of because didn't the CW have
Yeah, they
the
did
special
like
event?
they did Crisis, and they've already
Yeah.
said that everything so everything in the multiverse connects. So I mean, he could like pop into this universe. Um yeah, that would be interesting. That'd be pretty
Do you
cool.
think? I think this is a really big sidebar. Do you think
Yeah.
that they're gonna at some point bring Pattinson into there? I know he said this is its own universe.
We'll see. It's I would so I don't know. I just have this idea where it would be so I feel like so much better where you have this to be its own thing, which is what they're kind of planning to do. Like, just leave this alone, build the DCEU, build the DCEU. I don't know if how they're going to do that with what they're going to do with Batman or whatever. And this can even happen if now that Warner Media and Warner Brothers has been bought by Discovery, and it's going to be official on March 17th. Like, now that all that stuff has happened, maybe you could have like a Snyderverse 2 with the DCEU and this,
Okay.
and then maybe you bring them together for like a Crisis on Infinite Earths. You could do like some potentially something like that. I don't know. But I feel like, other than that, if they do like some sort of crossover where you bring in all these characters together, like, unless they do something like that, leave Pattinson in here over here, let him do his own thing, and don't bother bringing him into the DCEU, because I honestly don't think this style of movie and the style of the characters they're going for, they don't fit in the DCEU picture.
Yeah, the DCU it's kind of maintains kind of that poppiness
Yeah, it's like
to the brand.
that bright whatever, like kind of like Suicide Squad was very bright colors
Yeah.
for the poster, whatever. It's just like it seems like that very
It was a filthy
kind of
movie.
campy in a way, as
It's a
opposed to
very filthy
this.
movie.
Yeah. As opposed to this, where it's like supposed to be very serious, and the tones are just completely different between the DCEU and this Batman universe that we're going to
This
see.
is a borderline DC Black Label,
Yeah, no, definitely. Like,
as they were calling it.
that's what you could just like describe it as, like the Black Label.
Yeah. What did you think of the music overall?
I like the music. I like I know, I think,
Different.
yeah, I think it was different, but I think it worked. Like, I loved, in particular, his theme. I thought that was one of, maybe not the best, but I think it's up there in terms of like superhero themes.
I
I
think
thought it was really good.
this is the first time I have seen like a really well-known grunge song be used in a superhero movie. They reused Nirvana's song not only in the
Twice,
trailer
right? Yeah, they use it
but in
twice
the
in the
movie
movie.
itself.
They
Yeah.
used it at the beginning, and then I
Yeah.
think at the end too, they put
Towards
it
the
in.
end, yeah.
Yeah, that
I
was
think
pretty cool.
right after Alfred got blown up when Bruce was
Oh
moving
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
table.
When he's
Yeah.
moving the table, yeah.
His whole setup was a little odd. I kept trying to figure out where he was.
Yeah, I don't think it was under. It
Was it
seemed like it was
under?
under Wayne Tower,
Yeah,
under
that's
the
what I
tower,
thought.
because when you're seeing him drive the motorcycle, he's driving towards the
Yeah, yeah.
tower. So yeah, it was like he had to go through a subway.
Well, remember because even though Wayne Tower got destroyed in the Dark Knight, that warehouse was by the pier, if you remember, I believe, the underground
Oh yeah, the
warehouse.
underground warehouse.
And I don't think it was ever explained what that was. It was just storage for
Yeah,
Wayne Tech or something.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no,
Those
it was a little odd. But we did get a good couple shots of the manor, no?
Yeah, we got a couple shots of the manor, mostly inside. We didn't really see the outside of
Yeah.
it. It was just like the dining room or something. Then we saw the bedroom, like his parents' bedroom. A couple other shots that we saw of Alfred when he got blown up.
Did you like the cave?
I liked the cave. I thought the cave was it seemed like very like kind of like starter, like a very like new to this. Like everything was kind of
Yeah,
unorganized. Like the car
exactly.
was up on the rig. Um, just kind of things were scattered everywhere. He had the computer and just stuff everywhere on the like his desk and stuff, whatever it was, the table. I mean, I liked it as like I'm excited to see because I think it's going to evolve, obviously. So I'm excited to see where they go with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Oh, and you
Uh,
didn't like talk about this a little bit. You didn't like his portrayal of Bruce Wayne.
yeah. Um, and I get the whole thing of like, yeah, he's got to evolve too, but at the same token, a really comic book accurate Bruce Wayne to me is you get both sides. You get the
Yeah.
billionaire playboy and you get the dark knight.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why I think Bale was really good at playing both sides, but he
Yeah, he
could play the
was.
third side too, where Bruce Wayne was like, it was the real, not the fake Bruce Wayne. He
Yeah.
could play I didn't see a fake Bruce Wayne from Pattinson,
I think
but
that's because I think I told you this too after that. I think maybe we'll see that because when in Arkham when he's talking to the Riddler, he the Riddler says, "This is your true face." When because obviously he's wearing the mask. He's
yeah,
Batman. He's like, "This is your true face," and Bruce Wayne is your mask. So maybe I feel like that is gonna stick with him, and he's gonna realize that I need to play the part of the billionaire playboy, so that way I can go undetected as Batman later in the night.
that's a good theory. I mean, I don't know. I still didn't like. I'm not gonna like this
I
one.
didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't like that
Yeah,
he was just like an emo hates the world mad at the world person. And it
we had
wasn't
that one moment where he was wearing that T-shirt and he was eating the berries.
yeah, yeah.
That was, I think, the most like Bruce Wayne that you got.
I liked the though I did like this touch when and I think in that scene when he's eating the berries, um he walks into the kitchen and he's like squinting a lot and then he puts on the sunglasses
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's obviously used to being out at night and probably sleeping during the day, so it's pretty
yeah,
funny to see that he's like he doesn't like the sun.
yeah. He probably is sleeping throughout the day.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
which is pretty
mean,
I like to see that. I thought that was funny. Like he did the same thing when he was at the funeral scene. Like he was like he kept squinting away from the cameras because everything was just too bright for him.
yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, they never. And the other thing is they addressed the whole eye black situation.
I loved that. That I
Yeah,
really liked a lot because no other
because
movie has done that.
exactly, to my knowledge, I don't think in the
Bales
Dark
didn't do
Knight,
that, yeah.
there was a scene where he took the helmet off.
And it's just nothing there.
I believe so. Yeah, or it cut before you could see his face, and then it cut
Maybe,
back,
yeah, yeah, maybe.
and he was sitting there. But yeah, you wonder like they need to start correcting that.
And they did it though, which was cool. But um, I also liked, I don't know if it was if the cowl or was different or how it worked or whatever, but the the um the eye holes was they made I don't know if they were smaller or if they just put so much like eye black. The whites of his eyes like stuck out so much that it kind of felt like you could really feel the intensity in his eyes, if that makes sense. Like
All I know is it always looked like he was shutting them. Sometimes you could barely
Yeah, you can
see.
sometimes you can barely see. Sometimes he looks up and all you can see is the white. It was like I don't know, because I've always wanted to see like I've always wanted to see the white eyes, how it is in the comics. I've always wanted to see that. We got to see it a little bit when Ben Affleck's wearing the armor when he's fighting Superman. We see that a little bit, but we haven't seen it like on a regular suit. So this was like pretty close because it's like when he's looking to the side or looking up or looking down, like you can see a lot of the white in his eyes, and you can
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. I don't know. I just like it was just a small thing that I kind of liked about it, about the suit.
that's cool.
Um but yeah, I mean there was the we got to see the cool like little teaser with the Joker. We'll see how that goes. What did you think of that?
The Joker teaser.
The little teaser we got of the Joker.
Um, I mean, we got a Joker teaser at the end of Batman Begins,
Hmm.
so I don't know. Yeah, you're gonna have to introduce him.
Yeah,
Uh, Sometimes I wish that they would focus on other villains first, but I guess it's year two. I think it's assumed that Batman put him in there.
apparently there was a scene cut where he
Yeah, yeah,
goes
yeah.
to. Did you see that where he goes to
I saw that.
Arkham? Yeah,
Yeah,
so he goes to Arkham and he talks to the Joker to profile the Riddler, but that was cut,
yeah. So
which is
that
interesting. So he
he's
knows him.
conf he's confirming that he put him in there, basically.
Yeah, it's basically confirmed that he put him in there, and like they now have obviously they know each other.
Yeah,
So that was pretty cool. Because it was nice to see that Joker's active that early. It's not like he is just kind of waiting and then you're gonna just get him out of nowhere. Like he's there and he's ready um to wreak havoc on Gotham.
yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see who they pair him with,
I wonder though
as a
if
co-villain.
yeah, I wonder if they do wait, because you said like focus on some other villains. If they do wait, maybe, but it depends on how many movies they're going to do and the timeline of everything. But it would be interesting if the next movie may be I don't like maybe something that another villain, but it's kind of teasing the Court of Owls throughout the whole, because they've talked about wanting to do a Court of Owls story or movie.
That would be great.
That would be great. So maybe they have something that teases the court throughout the whole movie, and then it sets up the Court of Owls in the third movie, maybe. And then you get at the end of that, you get a big tease for the Joker, and then in the fourth movie, maybe you get the Joker. But it all depends on timing and stuff. But I doubt that'll happen. It'll probably be like Joker, and then maybe after that they'll do like the court or something like that, since they've already teased them.
That'd be interesting. They've got a lot of options. Um, I mean, the movie's doing really well so far, so I think they can kind of go in whatever direction they want, which is nice to hear for a DC franchise.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, we're still got an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Which I think honestly is a respectable score. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, if it
It's
drops a
just
couple,
yeah, I just feel like I feel like it was very like comic book accurate in terms of it literally being taken out of a comic book and put on a screen. So I think a lot of that is going to go over some of the more casual fans' heads.
yeah,
Uh like which is fine because that's how it goes with movies like this. But so for people to still like it and enjoy it, I think is a good thing. It's just it's not, I feel like, what people are expecting, like you said earlier, in a superhero movie where we're used to Marvel movies being 2 hours of action.
yeah,
Like this was a more it flowed more like a book than a movie.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like they're going to change. change their style anytime soon. So
Yeah,
um,
I kind of hope they stay true to it because I really liked how the style was. I enjoyed it, that the kind of slow build up and the at the end where they catch Riddler and he goes to see him, and then it's like where you could even assume that that's going to be the end of the movie,
yeah,
and then he's like, no, you're going to sit here and you're going to watch Gotham burn with me, basically, and then there's the vans that blow up the harbor.
yeah.
So that's like
So that's the
there.
end of the movie.
What?
I said it, and that's the end of the movie
And then
there.
yeah, and then that's the end
Yeah,
of the movie where the harbor's blown up, and then also that shot of him with the flare
yeah, that
walking
was pretty
walking
cool.
through the water. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
And I
There were a lot
liked,
of
yeah, like a lot of scenes like that were
there
really
was a lot
cool.
of really good shots.
Yeah. I
They
like
did a
the
really good job.
I like the scene where they're on the stadium, like on the roof, and people are
Yeah,
getting like airlifted out,
yeah.
and there's that little monologue he has, and throughout the whole movie they mention like vengeance, like I'm vengeance or whatever, and
Vengeance.
he says there that vengeance doesn't heal or take back anything from the past, and what the people need now is hope. So it's like you see that like more of an evolution where he's like going now, rather than being something to just scare people, he needs to be like something more. It needs to be like hope for Gotham.
Yeah,
So that was pretty cool. I like that.
yeah. I mean, it's a solid movie. I don't think it's for everyone.
No, yeah, I don't
At
think
least
it's for
not
everyone.
this one. We'll see what they do with the next one and then with the TV series. But I'd say I don't know. I give them a 7.5
I
after
agree.
I was at a 6.5 last night. So they gained a point.
It's like in because like it's a movie, and it's not like a like if it's yeah, I agree. I'm seven something for me. I don't know what point what, but I'd say seven something for like movie standards. But if we're talking like strictly how it was based off a comic, I'd say it's a little higher, like eight, like 8.5, like how Rotten Tomatoes has it ranked. I think is fair.
I mean, I think most of the initial shock of what did I just watch, kind of you start a little lower.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I mean,
that's
it was
pretty
it
good.
was it was definitely hard to follow. It was definitely like you said, you told me yesterday before we got into the movie, like don't like drink a lot of water, and if you got to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom before the movie starts. And
Yeah.
you could see why, because if you missed even like a second of that movie, you might like it was confusing. There was so much detail, there's so much information, and you really have to pay attention for it.
Yeah. You had to hold it in.
Yeah, I mean, I am excited to see it again. We'll see if I watch it in theaters or if I wait the month to watch it on HBO Max.
Yeah, I want to watch it at home where I can pause.
Yeah, you can pause and kind of pay attention. Even with subtitles, I feel like it'll make it a little bit easier to follow.
Well, I just meant be able to get up. 3 hours isn't. That's like
Yeah, it is
usually
a long time.
it's a long time.
I
So
what? Yeah, I mean, less one more hour and you got Snyder cut.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I hope they keep the next ones long too, so then you can do a nice like marathon back to back. It's like
That would
nine
be cool.
hours.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
cool.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, overall we enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm very excited for what they do in the future, especially if they go kind of in the same direction. Obviously, I feel like they gotta, and we both feel like they got to kind of
got to improve.
yeah,
Yeah,
improve on some things, but overall pretty great.
I agree.
Pretty good. I want pretty
Yeah,
great. We'll go pretty good.
pretty good. Pretty good.
Well, all right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you guys next week on the podcast.
We'll see you next week, hopefully.